Year 7, welcome to this video on end of term 2 to 3 assessment. In this video I am going to be looking at what you need to do for web design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Chrome and I'm going to log on to Classroom so we can look at the criteria for web design and what you have to do. Now the web design assessment is going to be all about music. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of images and I'm going to set you some requirements, and the website theme can be about music. Okay, so last week I set you this and I said that you had to create a website consisting of 2 pages with an external style sheet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to double click Notepad++ and we're going to open up the software. Now on my desktop I have created a folder called Year7T23WebPrep, and inside here I have got 2 images. Now on the day of the assessment you're going to be given these same images, and these will be able to be downloaded from Google Classroom. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to create my web pages. Now there is no point in me creating the same web page twice, so let's just create one to start with and we can just copy it. So I'm going to look for my folder Year7T3 and I'm going to call this page 1. Okay, now I can choose the file type that it is, and I am creating a HTML file. So we're looking for hypertext markup language. I'm going to press save. Now that I have done this, let's look at what we have to do. So the requirement says that we need to use 6 HTML tags. Okay. And we also need to have a link on each page so we can navigate from one page to the next, and it should look presentable. Now, you learnt about lots of tags in this unit. So I'm going to open up my first tag now. Remember, when you open a tag, you must also close it. So I'm going to do a few spaces and close it. Okay. Now the first tag I'm going to use here is my heading tag. So we use heading tags to put information at the top section of the website, for example, titles. So I'm going to use my H1 tag and I'm going to put all about music. Okay. Now that I've done this, I'm going to close my H1 tag, but I'm going to leave my heading tag open. The reason why is because I need to put a title tag. Okay. The title tag enables you to label a tab within a web page. So I'm going to label this as page 1, so the user is able to see the name of the tab inside a web browser. Now that I'm done, I am going to close my heading tag and I'm going to open a body tag. And inside body, I am going to open a paragraph tag. I'm going to then open a H2 tag, and I'm going to write, this is an example of a heading. Now, your assessment is fairly simple. I said that you only needed to use 6 tags. Okay, so I'm going to count how many I've used in just a moment. So I've used head, title, body, paragraph, H2, so I should maybe use 1 more now. So you learnt about lots of different types of tags, and I'm going to use my P tag again, and then let's see what I does. I remember I was an example tag as well as B for bold, so this is italic text. Now, I may be wrong, okay? Maybe I doesn't mean italic, but we can find out in just a moment. So let's view this in the web browser and see what is working. I'm going to do save as, save, not save as. Okay. And then we're going to minimize this. Going to go to my folder, right click and open with Google Chrome. Now, let's see what's working and what is not working. My mouse is being a little bit temperamental today, as you can see in this video. Okay, and I'm also going to open up my HTML page 2 so we can see if something isn't working. Of course. Okay. Again, you can see that my mouse is being temperamental. I am going to pause the video and continue. If that does continue, there we go, it's okay. Right, so we've got our title tag, our H1 tag, we've got a paragraph tag with a H2 heading, we've got italic tags. So looking at Google Classroom and looking at what we have to do, this is an example of 6 tags. So you can use any 6 tags across the 2 pages. Now, the next thing you need to do, as well as creating 6 different tags and using 6 different tags in your web page, you need to create a link between both pages. So I'm going to be doing that in the next part of this video. Welcome back to this video. So I am going to be looking at how we can create hyperlinks between 2 pages. So what I'm going to do under body, I am going to put a couple of spaces, and then I'm going to use a tag which is on W3 Schools here, which is called Ahref. So we use this to create hyperlinks between web pages. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to simply copy this over. Okay, so it is A and then Href. So once we've got that, okay, so Ahref, then the URL, then the closing A tag at the end. Now where it says URL, what you're going to be putting here is the location of your second page. Okay, but URL for now also we can actually just put the URL address of page 1. So I'm going to copy this address here from where the file is saved, and where it says URL now, I am going to place a file path to the location of my first page. And in the link text here, I am just going to label this as page 1. Now, if I've done this correctly, and I'm not sure because my mouse does keep playing up, I may have made a mistake, we should be able to open this, and if we click on page 1, it should just refresh. So there's a link here. If I click this, we do have a problem right now. Okay, now I think that I have forgotten to actually put my page name. So let's go back. And I am right, so where it says website, if you remember from when we studied about this previously, you need to put your file name after a folder name. So do a backslash. Okay, so do a backslash after website and then your page name. We know my page is called page1.html. Now, if you've used uppercase, make sure you're using uppercase when you're doing this. Go to here and refresh again, then click page 1. Okay, so this is now working. Now, you can't really see any change here, so what we're going to do is we're going to create our page 2. Now, as I said, as part of your assessment, there's no point you doing this twice. Simply do a save as on your page 1 and save as page 2. And then once page 2 is open, you can open page 1 again with Notepad. You've got 2 open now. And go over to your page 2 tab. And what we want to do here is we want to create another hyperlink from page 1 to page 2. And also in our title tag here, we want to change page 1 to page 2, which is done. And going back to page 1, we want to create a second hyperlink. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this line of code and create a second link so we can navigate from page 1 to page 2. Okay, I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to change the page name and the name of the tab. And with any luck, this will work. So let's do File Save As very quickly. Let's go back to our browser. Let's do a refresh on page 1. Go to page 2. Okay. And it should be changing. Now there are a couple of problems right now. We can see that this is not changing to page 2 up here, so let's go back to our HTML. Okay, so why is it not changing to page 2? So going to the page 2 page up here, title is as page 2, and everything else is as page 2 here. Let's go back to the hyperlink here. Okay, let's see if we have forgotten to close any of our tags here, and we haven't. Page 1 title, I'm going to click up here and change the H1 title, see if we can notice the difference. This is page 2. Okay, and go to page 2. Put this is page 2 here. Make sure you close the H1 tag. Back to page 1. This is page 1. Do a file save. Resuming this video now, I have got links between page 1 and page 2. I paused the video to test this in case it was not working. And you can see this is page 1. You can see the tag. And when I click on page 2, this is page 2. Now I am missing a link for page 2, so what I'm going to do is I am going to copy and paste it over from this section here. Okay, I'm going to go over to page 2 and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to press edit undo because it's taken out my old link, which is very silly of me. Let's undo, let's click, let's paste, here we go. Now, going back to the specification on what you have to do in your exam, you're also going to need to insert an image. Okay, so under the tag on this section here, let's use image source. Okay, so img source is equal to, and I think we then put speech marks from what I can remember. Okay, and between the speech marks is going to be our URL. So we are again going to take URL from this folder here. So this is basically your file path. Okay, and between the tags, you are going to paste the folder name. You're going to do a backslash again. Now, my keyboard is set up as UK instead of US, so my symbols are sometimes a little bit different. So I'm simply going to copy these over, go to website, then I'm going to put my image name. Okay, so my image name from my folder is art33. Art-33, and it's a JPEG file. You can find out a file type by going to, right-clicking and going to Properties. And once you have done that, it will then show. And again, my computer's being a little bit funny this morning. So once you've gone to right-click on Properties, it will show you the property type and the file type of the image. So right-click on the image. It's the last time I'm going to do it. I know it's JPEG. And go to Properties. There we go. It's .jpg. Now I'm going to go back to my browser very quickly, and then I'm going to need to close my image source tag. Now, it's been a while since we did HTML, so I'm actually going to check that now. How should I be closing? And you've got this W3 Schools link on Classroom as well. You've got the other videos I created before. So to close an image tag, we simply just use this here. Okay. Now, let's see if I'm right. Okay. And let's press File and Save. And let's go to page 2. Let's refresh. Okay, but you can see my image isn't displayed at the moment, so I have made a mistake somewhere, and I am going to have to work out where. So it is labeled as Art33. Going back to this here, Art33, silly Mr. Parker has spelt it incorrectly. So that will cause your images not to load. So let's refresh again. Still, it does seem to be not loading. Okay, so I'm going to have to check that I have spelt it correctly again. So let's go to the folder, and we have got the image as art33, art33, and it's a .jpg file. And moving the cursor up now. So image source is equal to C drive, and we're then closing this at the end, and art.33. Okay, that looks good to me. I am just going to check this here. Image source is file name .jpg. Close for speech mark, and at the end we close for speech mark and the tag. Now this does look correct. Okay, so I am going to go back to my folder and just open up page 2 in Chrome. If this isn't working, I will be pausing and coming back to the video, and it's not. So I'll be continuing this video in just a moment. 7, welcome back to this video. So my image is now working, and it has just started raining, so you should be able to hear that in the background. So what I've done here is I've actually just taken the HTML text from W3 Schools, and I've inserted it. Now, instead of putting my whole file path name, I simply just have the image name here. So what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to go to the old section of the image tag I inserted, and I'm literally just going to have image source and then art33.jpg. Okay. The other things on the line below is setting the size and creating a name for the image. But you can see now that I've removed the file path, but it is working. Now, the problem with doing this, you should always have a file path, especially when you're uploading your web pages to a web server or your websites to a web server, so the browser knows where to identify an image, and so it appears on the website, and so it has a correct file path. This isn't working as it was before. This doesn't matter too much at this point, but for your assessment, you can just do it this way. So you can do image source, and you can do equal to and your image name. You don't need this line of code here, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then the last thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be attaching and creating a CSS file. Now, CSS file is fairly basic, so all I would like you to do for this part of the assessment, is control the background color of the page, and also maybe one of the tags. For example, if you can control the H1 or the H2 tag and set it to a different font type or color, this would be sufficient. So for CSS here, you need to have an external style sheet controlling the graphics. So I am going to go to New. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and in here I'm going to put Style. We're going to change the file type at the bottom to be a CSS file, so cascading style sheet, and press Save. I'm going to open up my H1 and this one here, and I'm going to put color blue. Okay, so I'm going to put H1 color blue. See if this does anything. Let's see. I'm also going to need to attach my style sheet. So when you're attaching your style sheet to your web page, this needs to go inside the heading tag. Okay, now I don't remember the attribute for attaching a style sheet here, so I'm going to go to HTML CSS here, and I'm going to look for style sheet. We're going to scroll down, and we are going to look for external, and we use this tag here. So for the assessment, you are going to need to remember this line of code. Okay, so again, I'm going to copy and paste this over. Again, my mouse is still being a little bit funny, so I'm just going to ignore that it's not copying all. I'm going to click here. This is style.css, when I believe it's just for closing tag. And I'm also missing a speech mark. Okay. Now, you can see that I have also called mine style.css from my folder. So the page name is okay, and the link relative reference is style sheet. Now let's just do a file save quickly. This is page 1. Let's do a refresh. Okay, let's do a refresh, and you can see page 1 has turned blue. So that's my first tag working. Now the next thing we want to do is background color. So to adjust the background color, we can use our body tag. We open up this, the curly bracket, the strange looking curly bracket, and we can do background slash or dash, I'm sorry, color is, and my favorite color, pink. Okay, so file save as, file save. Go to this, and we now have a pink background. So this is all you need to do for your end of term tutor assessment for WebAuthn. Okay, so you are going to create a page consisting of all of these elements here, which I have demonstrated in this video. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a zip file video. Okay, and I'm actually going to attach this on Classroom. Okay, so I'm going to create a separate video which shows you how to create a zip file which you can then attach on Google Classroom. So I'll be continuing that in my next video.